Yes, ma'am, we are live.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, so basically, we are back again with our new session, and let us begin our session with time management. Perhaps I believe this is the most important topics which we are going to discuss today, especially at time of this pandemic, wherein people have actually lost the and maybe they have forgotten the value of time. I mean, there's no time now that everyone is working from home. They have absolutely forgotten. Even talking about personally talking about even I don't keep up with the time at times. It often happens that sometimes I'm sleeping, my videos are switched off, I'm attending my classes and everything, sometimes even 5-10 minutes late. That's a huge setback for all of us. Now, what are
That's
your
right.
views? What are your views on time management?
That's right. Yes, it's good to be here, Stuti, on Fair Gaze platform for the K-12 community. It is one of the biggest portals of India. And the whole idea being of disseminating in education information, being interactive on social platforms, and having an interface on a regular basis with the K-12 community, which is the kids, the parents, the teachers, the mentors of from KG to 12th standard. Okay, so we have our topic today, as Stuti was talking about. Time management is what we're looking at, and it particularly becomes more pertinent in pandemic and the COVID times. However, I was just wondering, time, when I thought of the topic, the first thought that came to my mind that time is a paradox. There are double meanings to a particular definition we give to time. Stuti. For example, there are some people when you call up your friend and say, "Hi, what are you doing? What's happening?" Nothing. Free I am. We are free I am. Lots of time. Lots of time is one. On the other hand, I don't have any time. Now, what happens is it's free. You're not paying anything. You don't have to punch in your debit card or your Paytm numbers and stuff. It's free, yet it's expensive, which means it's a paradox. On one hand, we are talking, it's free floating, we don't have to pay. But on the other hand, what we derive out of the time, how much of it we are utilizing, and this moment that we are talking will never come back to us. And thus it's expensive. So paradox of time, there are these few quotes I thought I'll quickly start with so that we have our minds moving that, yes, it is a paradox. So paradox of time is it's free, yet it's expensive. The second one is the most expensive gift you can give to someone is your time. When we look at relationships, we look at contributing in our work, when we look at excelling in our education, anything that we look at in terms of success or not success contributes hugely to the amount of time we give to that particular situation. We all know that we talk of quality time, even in terms of parenting. The parents who say, I send my kids to the best of schools, best of education, not close. How much of your time you've given to the kid? And the same way relationships, your best friend will be, you can call up at 3 in the morning. The person doesn't even know it's 3. Say, hi, yaar, bol kya ho gaya tere ko? Theek hai tu, So the person who gives your time, and in fact, most of relationships, a lot of people invest a lot because they're actually given their time. So they don't want to let go. It's not very easy to let go of relationships where you have invested your time. So that's the reason why sometimes relationships, it becomes very abstract and difficult to deal with. Paradox of time. I don't have time, quote unquote. Such people, there are many. You can hear them more now in pandemic. Okay, they were more earlier, but now they're much more. Quote unquote, I don't have time. People have maximum unorganized time. Such people. I don't have time. When somebody says so, the actual meaning of it is that they are mismanaging their time. When somebody says so. So when any of your friends or your colleagues, I don't have time, you have to get to it and say, something is happening. This person is either too stressed out with too many things to do or is not organizing time. Is precisely how and why we are sitting this evening. Stuti, you and I and our audience, people out there, parents, teachers, kids, to figure out not to use this, I don't have time. Because such people, including us, sometimes we land up saying, there's, your kid wants you to help you with the project a little bit, assist you. On an impulse, we say, I don't have time. The fact of the matter is, you're either not interested or you want to avoid that. It's not that you don't have time. It's just that unorganized. The next paradox of time. Time can mold us. We can't mold time. So this moment that we are sitting together, I can mold my script. You can mold your questions. But this particular moment, the time is running at its own pace, will determine in its own pace. We can't do anything about it. So that's another paradox of time. Another one, very interesting one. I'm sure we all go through it, and we go through it all our lives, is 1 hour can seem like 1 minute and 1 minute can seem like 1 hour.
Absolutely.
Stuti, have you ever experienced that? Tell me.
A lot of times, like before starting my internship and before getting indulged into like professional work, I really used to feel, because I'm like, कितना 24 घंटे अभी सिर्फ 1 घंटे खत्म हुए. At times my mom used to be like why don't you just go and do something? But mom, even if I'm doing something, I feel like अभी तो सिर्फ 1 घंटे हुए. I thought like I've been spending hours and hours. कितना वक्त मैंने बिता दिया. Mom's like नहीं, अभी तुमने सिर्फ आधे घंटे बिताए. Go. Especially while studying. It often happens with kids when they are studying.
100%.
When they keep the mobile phones, it's like, हाँ अभी 4 बजे है, 5 बजे तक पढ़ूंगा. And like 15 minutes के अंदर they all are like, it's just 4:15 right now. 45 minutes are left.
Yes.
It often happens.
Yes, a boring subject, a boring teacher, a difficult subject, not up. Yes, the time. And when we're with our best buddies, or there's an interesting meme we are watching, or doing our social platform, time, screen time as we call it, it just disappears like that. And then suddenly we find that, oh, this is not what we had planned. Yes. So 1 hour can seem like 1 minute, and 1 minute can seem like 1 hour.
So, ma'am, is it really true? Does it really happen that people often say that कि हाँ आज वक्त बहुत धीरे बीत रहा है, आज वक्त बहुत तेजी से जा रहा है? So, does it really happen with time, or is it just us? Is it because of the us, or is it really the time?
That is exactly what we were just talking about, and just like before we said, that time can mold us. We can have a different perception, but what tick tick करके तो चल ही रहा है on its own.
Absolutely.
Can you believe the same tick tick can change our perception? Like it's just said that a minute can seem like an hour, and hour seems like a minute. So
Absolutely.
that means on one hand is a constant tick tick, 1 second to the next, eternity. On the other hand, every single tick tick is so subjective. So that is what we derive out of our own life. For example, there are a lot of people who say that I don't remember how time flew, life flew. When did my kids grow up? I didn't come to realize that. And there's some people who say, I remember every minute of what happened in the past 10 years. I remember the year, I remember the date. What is the difference between these two? Tell me, Stuti. What is the difference? See, it's the same thing. Two people, same number of years, same time. So what makes it different is our ability to retain memory, our ability to put, like we said, those are our treasures. We treasure
Absolutely.
those. So we nurture, like we said, we nurture our memories. When you nurture your time having gone by, you revisit those good times, it'll stay with you longer.
Absolutely.
But if you are in a rush of saying, God, life is tough and it's so difficult, I'm not able to de-stress myself, I don't have time to think about the good times, life is such a spin, they actually will end up feeling that I don't remember anything because life is a spin. It's the same thing for two people. See, one says I don't remember, the other one says I remember so much. So it's up to us. Look at that, the time in itself, we can benefit so much out of it. So 1 hour can seem like a minute. I'm sure all of us out there, people who are watching, listening, will say, yeah, it happens to us so much. The next paradox of time. The hardest test, do you know the hardest test? It's not maths, physics, chemistry. The hardest test is the test of time. Have you heard people using this phrase, test of time? Waqt batayega. Waqt bada balwan hai. इसका क्या मतलब है? इसका मतलब
it's just that people wait for time. They want that particular thing to happen at that moment. Maybe if they are like in a revenge with someone, they have revenge. Maybe they have a fight with someone. They often like वक्त बताएगा. It often happens with people who don't answer to those questions. They are like, let it be. Time will answer. वक्त बताएगा. So
Part of what you're saying is right. Yes.
yeah. So this is
Part
what
of
I
what
know.
this is what you think. Part of what you're saying is right, Suti, but part of it also means, when we say kam hum kin kin log bolte hain waqt batayega. For example, karma.
Absolutely, karma.
When we say, okay, this is what it is, time will tell. We'll see what happens. That's one of the things we all do land up doing. The other thing is, when we have, let's say we are doing well professionally. We are at the peak, or we are going upwards, we're climbing the ladder. Your senior or your mentor will say, time will tell, which means what? The ability to sustain growth, sustain progress is the criteria of being successful. For example, a kid who gets, let's say, many kids in primary years, they very well excel, A pluses and so on, because it's easier and simpler. Children are more disciplined. Then comes the preteens and teens. Then comes middle school, where there is newer interest. You get interested in peer group. You get interested in all the naughty things of things and studies a little. So what happens is this, again, there's a you slide down. Then again, there is up. Then again, there is down. The thing is that when we say time, the test of time is the hardest, is the ability to keep consistency. That is the meaning of it. If you are consistent with your habits, with your aspirations, with your goals, consistent, that is the only thing which will determine your success quotient. So consistency is what the meaning of this is, that time will tell. हम लोग कहते हैं ना वो relationships में होता है ना, we have the honeymoon period, the cloud nine period, the crimson cloud syndrome, we call it. You put the best foot forward when you're courting. And then somebody says, time will tell, which means when you are living together for a longer period of time, things actually become more and more clear. And are you able to sustain that kind of bond? That also is the meaning of time will tell. So, like we say, that time, the hardest test is the test of time, is the meaning of this. There are friendships, there are relationships, there are work. So much of it is put to, let's see how long you can sustain. So that's what it is, the paradox of time. The next one is, time empowers, but also humbles us. Any thoughts on that? Time empowers, but also humbles us. Which means, let's look at a 20-year-old and a 70-year-old. 20-year-old, same. So 20-year aspirations, very progressive, get feel good feeling. And, I did this, I was a gold medalist, I was this, and I. The 80-year-old, generally speaking, are listening and saying, very good. I'm so happy for you. The I syndrome, the I factor becomes more dissipated, and we become more humbled with time. For example, the very, very high achievers, let's say very successful people, be it in the film industry, be it in business industries, if you look at their profile, if you look at that, the more you achieve, I'm talking about the real achievement in terms of people who are in science, APJ Kalam, for example, or Steve Jobs. Of course, people do have a lot of controversies about Steve Jobs, but the other people who are, or startups, people who just, started with something and they've done very well for themselves. The more you are sustaining success, the more humble you get. Because why does that happen? Is because that's taken as very normal, because the person looks at life beyond one's achievement. Like I think we spoke about even in the last session that we had, spirituality is beyond yourself.
Yes.
So when you dissipate your energies beyond the I, it actually feels that we are just a speck in this universe. We're just a small little thing, small little job we are doing compared to the bigger cosmos, the bigger energies. So that is what happens. Like we say, थोड़े जो हम उम्र के साथ क्या होता है, हम और mellow हो जाते हैं और हम humble हो जाते हैं. That is what is the meaning of time empowers us, but also humbles us. Paradox of time. Then we say time transcends from quantity, from quality to quantity, from quantity to quality. Time transcends from quantity to quality, which means what?
This basically means that when we are at our younger stage,
Yeah.
we meet a lot of people. We hang out with a lot of them. Like we are very enthusiastic. We are physically and mentally very much sound. We have that aspiration of meeting with new people. Like right now, I'm talking. Maybe like 10 days back, I didn't even know who you are, and you didn't know who am I. But now I'm interacting with you. Maybe in the next session, I might be with someone else. But as time would grow, I would reach to my 50s, I would reach to my 60s, maybe 70s, and I would like to like restrict my area. I would like to constrain myself up to a limited number of people. Say only these are the number of people that I want in my life who are actually going to help me at my when I'm at the last stage of my life. I want my children, I want my grandsons, maybe my granddaughters to just be with me, with whom I can spend some quality time with them.
Perfect, exactly. So you've got it. Perfect. We are very, very quantity based when we are younger. More money, more cars, more friends, more pubbing, more movies, more gadgets, more clothes, more accessories, more. And then with time, they cease to hold that value. And then you say there's so much of clutter. There's so much of clutter. And the clutter makes us very agitated. So we declutter our inside, we declutter our outside. So that's what it says, that time actually, talks about quality over quantity. Very good. So then we're looking at paradox of time. Time can only be recalled by the memories of it. Look at that. Like we were just talking about it, right? Otherwise it's just this 1 second and your life is gone. So, be it relationships, good friends, anything, we are a subtotal, Stuti, of our memories. Today, as you are and I are, our education, what we've learned is conditioning, learning memories, how much we're able to, yeah. So time time can only be recalled by memories of it. Otherwise, time has no meaning. Can you believe it? Have you seen that movie Gajini, right? Something like that. What
Yeah.
happened to that guy who has the brain? Yeah. So see, imagine for him, it was like he's completely doesn't know anything because he doesn't have the memory of it. Okay. Then we're looking at paradox of time. Respect time and time will respect you.
This is
It has a
something.
lot to do with a lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah, especially in
Tell
terms
me.
of
Yeah.
people, especially in terms of people who are like you are like professionals. For them it's like really very important. Maybe for people like us who are yet to become professionals, maybe you are on the verge of becoming a professional, that yes, we've got to utilize our time in a very effective and an efficient manner, because even one single moment, one single minute spent ineffectively and inefficiently can help us, like it can help us degrade our future. It can help us make ourselves not come up to that level that we are actually wanting to be. That's why our parents, especially our parents, they're often like, be with people, surround yourself with people. Even if you're spending time with them, learn something from them, which is the most important. If you're spending time, then learn something from them. Like today I'm sitting with you, I'm talking with you, absolutely. It's been 23 minutes since we are talking, but yes, I'm learning. So which is really very important.
Very interesting. What you just said is something, because this is something we are all, grappling with. All of us, we are grappling with, am I genuinely respecting time? All of us at all age groups, by the way. And I would like to share something that happened just day before. I was with my nieces and nephews, and we were just sitting and chatting. They're 2 generations younger to me, of course. So we were talking about precisely this point. And there's one child in the family who's about 30, 32 now. So this kid wakes up at 6 every day, between 5:30 and 6. So I asked him, I said, like, we were partying, we were like talking within the family, and we looked at the watch, it was around 2:33. So we all knew at the back of my mind, 3 o'clock, now I'll get up at 9, subconsciously. Get up at 9 then. I asked him, would you be waking up at 6? He says, yeah, I will. I said, but what will you do? Like, what will you do? You know what he said to me? He said, I'll wake up first. And once I've woken up, I'll figure out what to do. As
Wow.
simple as that. Yeah. And I was shocked. I said, oh God, we were doing it the other way around. Kuch karna to hai nahi, nothing important to be done. I have so reasons, excuses. I need 6 hours of sleep. Chutti hai, Sunday aaj. N number of reasons to think. And I do that. I'm talking about myself too. You know, kuch urgent nahi hai, to so jao. He says, no, I wake up. Once I've woken up, I'll figure out what to do. And I said, damn, this is a very easy thing to do. And that's exactly what our topic is all about. In fact, this is the axis or the fulcrum of today's topic. The last point. Respect time and time will respect you. We disrespect time, including myself. We all do. So to begin with, what does it mean to respect time? You know, treat time as a priceless piece of fine jewelry or a gem. Imagine, like, it's like fragile gem. We don't do that. We visualize, we take it for granted. Tomorrow is another day. Yeah, I'm going to wake up. Yeah, I'm going to do this. So you disrespect time. You are not giving it its due. So guys, all you guys out there, including Shruti and everybody, something I learned from a youngster day before, and I wanted to share with you all, is one of the ways to waking up. Now you say, what about waking up? We're just going to come to that. But one of the methods is you wake up in the morning on default button. Once you wake up, you'll be surprised. You will figure out to do what to do with your time, because there's a lot we need to do. We land up having a lot of to-do list a previous night or a week before. We are lagging behind. Now, lagging behind is what we call as disrespecting time. And look at this, look at the irony of it. I wish time was like a headmaster, you know, who had that whip.
Absolutely. Who would just come
I
up
wish
with a whip. Yeah, like
you
just do
disrespect,
this, do
yeah,
that. Yeah.
you disrespect me, I'm going to give you a whack on your knuckles. I wish it was like that. It doesn't. It's so magnanimous.
But
It's
at
so
times I
patient.
feel, but at times I feel that's a really good thing. We actually need one whip because at
Yeah.
times, because we have actually lost our track. We have just
Yes.
we don't know what our upcoming generations are going to do. But personally, talking about myself, I
Yeah.
really feel that we have just lost everything. We have come out of the track. We don't know what to do. We are just like, I mean, we are not those kids who are like always very much organized with that pen and paper in their hand. That right now, ha, abhi 6 baj gaye. It usually happens when we are preparing for our exams. पूरे subjects का syllabus बन गया and we barely follow it. एक दिन चला max to second day, third day we will just tear it. It's like, okay, I just can't take it anymore. I'm like, these subjects
Yes.
are like very difficult. अभी सोना है, अभी नींद आ रही. So it's very difficult for us to manage with time. It has, for personally talking about me, it has become next to impossible. So that's the only reason, because whenever I feel like I'm like demotivated, I'm not keeping myself up with the time, I go and watch that film Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. I loved Hrithik Roshan's character.
Yes.
I had actually fallen in love with his character just because of that movie. I have never watched any of his films, but like
Yeah.
when it came to that, when I saw Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara and Hrithik Roshan's character, I mean, how punctual he was, no matter how many problems he had, but the kind of punctuality he had even during his tour, stopping the car in the middle, friends are waiting, doing the meeting and everything, again getting back, friend throws his phone, again he buys a new one.
Yes.
That
Yes.
was absolutely fantastic. I mean, how successful he was as
Yeah.
compared to others. He was very successful,
Right.
which I really liked about that film.
Yeah. Absolutely right. Absolutely. Uh, Also, if you can keep me posted, you know, if there's anybody who's asking a question or
Sure,
something to say. Sure.
sure, ma'am.
Okay. So let's continue with exactly what you're talking about. And that's exactly, to begin with, is this first tip. When you respect time, which means every moment is precious, you will land up doing more quality. Not more is not more. We're not looking at, you know, somebody who's sitting in front of the book because the clock is ticking, but there's nothing going in. You're not retaining it. So it's not in terms of again, I'm saying quantity. It is the quality. So that is the first step. Now we talk about, like you're talking about, that we mismanage time. And we had the paradox of, people saying, I don't have time. So to begin with, very simply putting, why do we lose focus of time is because we lose focus of our motivation, our goals. We have three types of goals. One is immediate goals, short-term goals, and long-term goals. Immediate goals in terms of, if you quantify in terms of time, is going to be coming week to 10 days. Coming week. Short-term is 3 weeks to 6 weeks. 6 weeks and beyond is long-term. I repeat, this is the first with a week 10 days, beyond that about 4 to 6 weeks, 6 weeks and beyond long-term. Some researchers put it a little longer. They say immediate goal is, let's say, 3 months. Short-term goal is 6 months. Long-term goal is 6 years. That is also another model we use. It depends from life, which part of your life milestones are you on. For example, a kid who is in primary years, this model doesn't hold good. 3 months, 6 months, 6 years. It's the immediate goal which matters more. So it differs, but generally immediate is the coming few days to a week.
Yeah, I mean that's the only reason, like at times, that people usually fail in their life, or maybe they are unable to crack certain interviews, because people often ask them that what are your long-term goals, what are your short-term goals, where do you see yourself after 5 years, and they have no answers to that.
They don't
only,
have answers to that.
they don't have answers to that, and that's the reason that they are not that much, they are not that sound in terms of making themselves organized, or maybe deciding that what they really want to do in their life.
Right. That's why, if you've noticed, parents, as the kids start speaking and going to school, generally the grandparents or the parents, bade hoke kya banoge? That's one of the foundations of, parenting and the child's development, to start setting some kind of long-term goal. बड़े होके क्या बनोगे? और यही चीज हमारा एक तरीके का बेसलाइन होता है जिंदगी का, जब हम छोटे होते हैं, जब हम स्कूल, सो वो हमारा लॉन्ग टर्म गोल है. That can keep shifting, changing, but base can't get toppled. If you've taken up science, you suddenly can't get into fine arts. Right. So the base begins somewhere in middle school, primary, middle school, because that's, in fact, some kids it's a little late if you start in the 9th or 12th. I think one of my webinars, I'd taken that up also, is that in middle school, the parents should be helping the kids explore different careers, introduce their friends who are in different jobs. हम लोग क्या करते हैं, अच्छा अंकल आंटी मेहरा से मिलो, आंटी मेहरा, नमस्ते आंटी, अच्छा स्कूल ठीक है, ओके गो, अब आप अपने जाके खेलो. आप मिसेस मेहरा, आंटी मेहरा क्या करती हैं? Is she a homemaker? Is she a designer? Is she into interiors? What is she doing? So let the parents become more aware. So we are looking at long-term goals, which becomes a base. उस base का हम कहते हैं it should be congruent, which means it has to be homogeneous to the short term. आप साइंस सब्जेक्ट में हो क्योंकि मम्मी पापा का प्रेशर था, क्योंकि आपके फ्रेंड्स ने साइंस ले लिया, आपने साइंस तो ले लिया, आपकी एप्टीट्यूड जो है ना वो हिस्ट्री में थी, आप ज्यादा टाइम हिस्ट्री आर्ट सब्जेक्ट में लगा रहे हो, and you're not putting in any effort in your science subjects. So it's not a homogeneous short term. Long term has to be homogeneous short term. It can't be this way, because then we are looking at getting frustrated. Homogeneous short term, and on top of that is immediate. Immediate is to get the short term. Simple. To get to the short term, you have to have immediate, because immediate are more tangible, more things you can do on a daily basis. Short term, immediate leads to short term leads to long term. That is what we look at life, and we say we are in homogeneous growth. And within that comes, okay, then we're looking at today's topic. What is it about? Is it the long term, short term? Long term, we've talked about, like I just said, it's the base. Short term is homogeneous to that. Immediate goals is what we're talking of today, which leads to short term. Today's topic is more focused on the nitty gritties, the micro moment, daily steps we need to take to be more effective, more efficient with our output, input and output जो time को लेके होता है. So पहली बात तो हम सब लोगों को पता है, very simple thing is the timetable. So, I often give talks in parenting workshops. Very simple. And I think a lot of parents understand that is so do the teachers. We have a timetable in school. Do we have a timetable at home? You'll be surprised. There are about 85% of parents, because I've done a lot of workshops from primary, middle, senior. In my so many years of working in schools, 85%, and I'm talking about Delhi, I'm not talking about pan India, etc., only Delhi city. 85% of parents do not have a timetable. They thought timetable word is only for the school. They said, घर में कौन सा timetable होता है? Answers होते हैं, घर में कौन सा timetable होता है? हम फौज में थोड़ा ना है. We're not in the army that we need to have a timetable is looked at negative, and that was a shocker. I said, wait a minute, it has nothing to do with being having a timetable doesn't mean you're strict. So that is what it's a big shift. So paradigm shift is having a timetable at home. It has become more so pertinent, and I'm sure you would agree with this, in the COVID times. COVID times has taught us, beta, घर में timetable नहीं हुआ ना, तो कुछ नहीं काम होने वाला.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So the first step would be, for all you people out there, you will now again resume school. There's a school timetable and there's a home timetable. Home timetable generally comprises of basically 5 elements. Generally, it's your wake up time, school time, meal time, study and entertainment time, study and leisure, and bedtime. So wake up and bedtime, easy to remember. Wake up and bed.
Yes.
Such an important thing. This is the end points. That's why we have only 5 fingers. We don't have a 6th one. Waking up and on time. These 2 things will bind up the rest of the fingers. If you are conscientious and disciplined, and like I said, you used the word consistency.
Yes.
If you're consistent with something, that's so. Waking up and sleeping. If you're consistent with these 2 things, these 3 things will automatically come within it. So that's the biggest point of concern.
Absolutely.
Consistency with waking up and sleeping. And this applies not just to children. This applies to adults also. So first word of caution for all of us out here is, are we conscientious and disciplined with, and I'm not saying, मैं तो कुछ भी नहीं बोल रही, wake up कब करना है, कब सोना. I'm not saying, it's everybody has their own timetable. Everybody. We're all different. We're all in a different stage of life. Figure out. Now you say, when would be a right good wake up time and sleep? It differs from person to person. If in your timetable, even in school kids timetable, lot of parents say, हम लोग दोनों working है, we don't get time to be with the kids in the evening. That's why they land up sleeping late. So they sleep in the daytime, but because they don't get time at night in the evening with them, they sleep late. And then they're sleeping in the class and they're not. What do we do, ma'am? What do we do? You tell me, Stuti, what should be the way? What should be the answer to that? Very simple.
So I think, like, if they have organized themselves in a proper way, like especially in terms of like sleep, because it often happens with kids like us. Like, we are usually sleep deprived due to our studies, exams,
Absolutely.
exams, and
Yeah.
other
So
assignments.
they have to figure out, if you've answered that very clearly, is that they have to figure out, they have a complaint, and so does the teacher, that the kid sleeps in the class. Parents also understand that. So I asked them this question. I said, अगर ये hostel में होता तो आप नहीं मिल पाते ना hostel में बच्चे से? They said, हाँ नहीं मिल पाते. I said, would the kid been lesser of a kid or you lesser of a parent? No, not like that. They understood very clearly. They said, oh, you mean 5 days a week? The kid has to sleep at 9:30, maximum 9:30. On a Friday, keep it 11. No problem. Saturday is off. Saturday, the kid can sleep an hour extra. No problem. But only a Friday and a Saturday. So the parents are very happy. Oh, out of 7 days, we have 2 days to us. Are nice. It's a win-win, because we have to look at both factors. So 2 days, yes, the kid can keep, but the kid also then realigns. So even within this little alteration, there is consistency. For example, there's a birthday party of the kid's friend on a Thursday. She looks at a timetable. She says, "नहीं यार, आज तो मेरा late night वाला नहीं है. Sorry. Can you shift it for tomorrow? I can come." I am not going to change my timetable for your birthday because my time doesn't allow me to keep awake till 11 or 10:30 on Thursday. So who will do this? Who will do this is first the parent themselves. Lot of times I've noticed timetable goes down the drain because parents become complacent. अरे यार जाने दो यार, चलते हैं, उसकी शादी है ना, ताई जी की लड़की की शादी है आज, कोई बात नहीं यार, कल स्कूल ऑफ करवा देंगे. So the whole thing starts from the parents. When the parent wants the kid next time in teenage, in 9th standard, 8th, they say, "I don't want to go to school. I haven't done my homework, so I haven't done that project." So the more discipline, perhaps this is, I think, the only thing. Rest of it is all doable factors. Like you can tweak them here and there. But if your waking up time and your sleeping time is consistent, disciplined, you are not compromising on it, you will get more output in life. Any questions today? Because I'm keeping it very open. I don't want to start boring everybody. Any question you have on your mind as of now?
No, ma'am, there's just one thing like I had in my mind. It was like quite to a sarcastic thing, and that was like, especially in India, it often happens that the timetable wala thing is only restricted up to like schools and colleges, which we just now discussed. But like when it comes to houses, there's one timetable which is always there. Like students will always, like kids will always come up with the timetable. Mummy, आज Monday है, आज खाने में ये, breakfast में ये, lunch में ये, dinner में ये. So like from Monday to Saturday, this has to be there. And I felt it because I myself used to make it. I used to stick it on the fridge and Mummy, please follow it.
That's thumbs up. It should be done. And by the way, you know what? The mother or the person who is cooking is actually going to be relieved. You know how much of time goes into aaj kya khaoge? Aaj kya khaoge is one of the pain in the so and dot dot dot.
Yeah,
in a lot of families. Yeah, very good. Yeah, मेरा आज का ये, आज मेरा cheat day है, आज pizza day है, और आज हमारा ये. Yes. So did you also follow that?
I did.
Did it help your mom?
Yeah, it really did, because nowadays we have actually stopped and we are almost on the verge of World War III, because mom's like, yaar tum ek baar bata, to even I'm sleeping, it's like ye bana karke rakha hai. I'm like, no, I'll have something else for me. I'm like, I'll make this for me. It often happens. My mom is like, मैंने कहा देखो, सोचना ज्यादा कष्टदायक है as compared to cooking. I can cook it within an hour, but like thinking about it takes a lot of time. Then my mom will be like, आज क्या बनाया तुमने? She just start asking relatives. अच्छा तुमने आज क्या बनाया? तुमने ये बनाया? तुमने मतलब जो बात होनी चाहिए वो बात नहीं हो पाती relatives, and they end up talking about food. तुमने क्या बनाया? Then how the cycle, because they're like, अच्छा अब तो सब्जी महंगी हो गई है. Who's gonna go out? ये वो ऐसा वैसा. Just because of that one topic is not decided, they come up to all the political, social, and economic factors just because of that one thing.
Because of one thing, the food thing. रिश्ते टूट जाते हैं अगर खाना के बारे में नहीं पूछा. आज बाबा बेबी ने क्या खाया? Then you don't ask that. Your relationship can go down the drain. So coming back to what we were talking about, I think high time, since you've already experimented with the food timetable, very good tip you've given. Bring it back, send a screenshot to your parents or other way around, whatever is happening. Simple. So one of the ways, so it has, research shows that if you have disciplined time, a timetable itself makes your stress levels go down because you already know what you have to do next. And rest of the systems will also adhere to that. The problem is the kid has a timetable on the study table. The parents disrespect that, for example, or the other way around. The parents, with the help of the kids, have made a timetable, and the kid is doing that. So when the entire family or the grandparents, for example, grandparents perhaps are the most disconnected, unfortunately. Maybe because they're not maybe they've not been told to be participative. Maybe, कई बार क्या होता है, वो disconnect feel करते हैं कि हमें तो मालूम ही नहीं क्या करना है. So the more you respect time, the more your stress level is down. For example, meal time. I repeat again: wake up time, sleeping time, school time, study time, sports, and leisure time. This is all. Meal time, I said. So meal time also is very important. When these basics are taken care of within a time frame, you land up really saving a lot of time. lot of time it happens, खाना ही गर्म ही होता रहता है, बनता ही रहता है सारे टाइम घरों में, क्योंकि किसी को कुछ चाहिए. My God, it's unproductive. That woman who is available, whoever the person is making khana, don't take that for granted, because within that process, the whole thing is focused only on our. So coming back to your meal time has to be fixed. And now we talk about, okay, what else? So I spoke something very importantly, and I think this is very important, is kids learn, because we are basically addressing K-12 community. Kids learn from modeling, what we call as role modeling. And role model में parents होते हैं, grandparents होते हैं, teachers होते हैं, elders होते हैं. So जितना हम responsible होंगे, उतना ही बच्चा हमको follow करेगा. So when we talk of study time, it is study time. So you don't compromise on that. So they learn from mimicking you, us guys, the elders. So if we are conscientious, then they are going to follow it. There are a few things which I can give you as tips. For example, how to be more effective. One of the tips I give you right in the beginning, on a, what do you call it? On a reflex. On a reflex, designate the time you have to get up, and you get up. Just get up from the bed. Just get up. So a lot of people say, I have that in mind, I'm not able to do. Is because when you're sleeping, there's something we use, it's called visualization. You lying down and you imagine yourself lying on the bed, close your eyes, lying on the bed. The alarm goes, जैसे army में होता है ना, attention, attention, you get up from the bed. You just jump out like a jumping jack. You visualize that once, twice, thrice, 10, 20, 30, 50 times, you will do it next day. The thing is, we give up after the second visualization. Arey, chuck it, yeah. We think of something glorious, some good movie we have seen, some good conversation, we forget. So the more you condition your mind to do something, the more you'll end up doing it. So waking up, when you just get up like that, you get up from the bed, you will land up doing. So coming back to, you visualize. Before you sleep, you visualize. You're waking up. The second is, have a couple of to-do things to do in the list. It should not be 10 things. 10 things will stress you out, will cause you these stress hormones. You will avoid waking up next day. You'll actually get up with a headache. Then you'll get up with a queasiness, because these are all psychosomatic illnesses. The body will revolt with anxiety, with anxiety. So you will have tummy infections, you will have some headache, you may have spondylitis, all of those psychosomatic things. लंबी लिस्ट मत बनाओ, छोटी एक या दो चीजें करनी है मुझको कल. Just 2 things. And like I said, if you have these 5, it's like जैसे हम लोग स्वेटर बुनते हैं ना, तो स्वेटर में तो एक ही धागा होता है.
Yeah.
वो जो धागा है, वो ये 2 है, ये वाला. This makes one thread. Waking up and sleeping time. Rest of it is bound on its own. There's nothing else to it. There's nothing more to it. Any questions, Tuti?
No, ma'am. There's just one thing that I wanted to ask. Like when it comes to ma'am, adhering to the time. So it often happens that we end up being in a conflict, be it with our parents or be it with our friends, because I never compromise with my time. I have a very fixed schedule that I have to wake up at 5. I will wake up at 5. No matter how busy I am, even if I sleep at 3, I have to wake up at 5. Maybe most probably if I'm extremely tired, or maybe if I'm down, I might wake up at 5:30. Max to max. Even on Saturdays and Sundays, I can wake up at maybe around 6:30, because I got up, like I slept late, I was watching a movie, or maybe I was talking to a friend of mine. It often happens that like my parents will come and they're like, we are going out, would you like to join us? I'm like, no. It happened for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, and every day. Because I belong to a business family. My father is a businessman. My mother is a businesswoman. She has her own boutique and everything. So she often goes out. Yeah. So she often goes out for shopping and everything. So she's like, would you like to join me? Like, please help me with this choice. And I'm unable to decide among these clothes and everything. Which one should I buy? Which would suit my customer? I'm like, Mama, I don't have time. It happened for like 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. And the 4th day, she's like, Vanika, you just let me know. I mean, she was quite angry. So you let me know when you're free. You let me know and then I'll come, because I am also busy. And that's when the conflict arises. Okay, you let me know when I'm free. Papa's like, beta, come have dinner. I'm like, I'll take my plate. I'll go inside my room. I'll sit in front of my laptop. Maybe I'll just switch on any kind of a series on Netflix and I'll start watching and then I'll eat. I'm like, what is this? मैं कहा, पापा को time नहीं मिलता. I'm like very busy with my studies and internships. So like अभी अच्छा तो मतलब अभी series देखनी है. So I'm like quite. I never answer to my father. He's like yeah. I'm like yeah. So it often happens. The same thing happens with the friends. They यार आ जाना थोड़ा बाहर चलते. I'm like no, I don't have time. I have a meeting. I have to
Yeah.
wind up this work. So we often end up being in a conflict, which is a really difficult task to manage with time, with our work, and with our social and personal life. This is the biggest challenge that I personally face. I don't know about others that how they are able to manage, or maybe they have just cut themselves off from society and everything. But for me, as an aspiring journalist, I'm a student of mass common journalism. So it is very important to me for me to be equally connected with the society, and I have to manage my work as well. I just can't keep reading books, and I just I'm researching, or maybe I don't know what's going out in the society. I don't know what happened, who is alive, who is dead. I can't bear that. How am I going to manage it? Because I have to be physically and mentally and socially active. All these three things are really very important for me. Like
Right.
when it comes to time, so these are some of the things that somehow or maybe they often get affected due to time. And then
Yes.
again, we come to that paradox:
Then,
you respect time, then time will respect you.
yeah.
As I said in the beginning, that yeah, everything is interlinked. So yes, it is interlinked, and I believe all the paradoxes that we have discussed,
Yeah.
all the paradoxes are somewhat interlinked. And this is the beauty. This is the
Yes.
beauty of time. Only any element which is present around ourselves, it is so interlinked. Even we are interlinked to each other. Then again comes time. This is so beautiful.
Correct. Absolutely right. Absolutely. You really very well put it. I think a lot of us can relate to this. Perhaps your mother, especially people we are close to, when you hear time and again that come for this, come for that, help me with this, subconsciously, she's telling you that I need to spend some more time with you. I need your time. It's her need. It's not so much as you helping her pick the pink color or the blue. It is eventually she'll decide she will get to buy only what she wants. Your being so subconsciously, she's actually saying to you that when are you available for me? So if you hear the other message, then perhaps what your mother said also is right, because that's exactly which in fact don't have to wait. In fact, we just talked about that in the beginning, the paradox of time. When somebody says I don't have time is actually one of the most unorganized persons according to the definition, right? So so get that out of your dictionary, your scrapbook, like we call it. Replace that with let me see how I can work it out. So instead of you saying I don't have time, you look at your schedule. You look at your schedule and say, okay, Saturday, mom, is it possible? See, I'll tell you, mom, I am free. I have a little more time on Monday evening and Tuesday mornings and Sunday mornings. You give her three options. Sometimes what happens is she may not respond even the first time because it's difficult for हम लोग instructions बहुत अच्छे से नहीं लेते हैं. हम लोग emotionally respond करते हैं लोगों को. The moment you say that, first response most probably of your mom would be, oh, look at her, मुझे बताइए अभी time. ये जो, what does she think? Like, oh, really? I mean, riding a high horse, emotional responses. She's not listened to the Monday, Wednesday, Sunday. Repeat it to her again. Again, just remind her. Don't wait for her to react. Remind her again, mom, or WhatsApp, everything is so technology. Mom, a quick reminder, Monday evening 3 to 5 I'm available, Wednesday 4 to 3, 4 to 5 or whatever, and Sunday 9 to 11. So thumbs up, I'm waiting. The moment you do that, she'll understand that Stuti has something known as a timetable. Okay, all right, they will respect that. That's one. The second important thing, what you just now said, that it is time is itself tells you so much. The more clear you are what you want to do with your time, part of what you did, like for example, having a meal. We spoke about that in our last talk. Like you said in the beginning,
Yeah.
it's overlapping. Being in the here and now, it's your 10 minutes or 15 minutes with your dad. It could be just silence, or it could be just talking about the dal or the chutney that is there, how it can be bettered, or is it superlative. That proximity of sitting together itself is exchange of vibes, right? That's why we have something known as real-time meeting, catching up, and the COVID time catching up. Sea of difference. So when you are eating your meal, you respect time by eating your meal and being in the here and now, what we discussed last time. So that also is part of quality, like we talked about, time. कहने को तो फिर क्या होगा ना, मूवी एंजॉय करी, अच्छा फिर दिमाग में पता है क्या होगा, गिल्ट रहेगा दिमाग में कि अरे पापा वहां डाइनिंग टेबल पे बैठे हैं, देखो उनको अच्छा भी नहीं लग रहा होगा, they he wanted me to sit, अच्छा मैं next time करूंगी, postpone that, feel a little guilty, and half of the movie is like few scenes are gone of the movie while you're feeling guilty, and while you spilled your dal a little bit on your laptop and oh god crap, my white kurta is spoiled, things. So here and now I think works.
Absolutely, ma'am. I definitely agree with that, because this is something that especially it happens with those who are like very much organized and they have a particular timetable. Because had I been a very unorganized person, mom's like, "Are you free? Okay, mommy, I'm to always free," and my mom would be like, "Hamisha free रहती हो? Don't you have any work to do?" That question also comes. Like even if
Yes.
you're organized, हमारे पास time नहीं है. When you're unorganized, हमारे पास तो time ही time है. I'm like, what to do? What a dilemma. Where do I start? मतलब busy रहो तो problem, ना रहो तो problem. Where should I go? You tell me now.
Yeah, the point is it's not the other person. Other person will perceive your time according to himself or herself. That's not reality. That's the other person's perception. Reality is, Stuti, what you understand of it. You know what, I in fact, like I was talking about the paradox of time, just go over those couple of friends, you know, who whenever you call, they always pick up your call, always. And when you ask them what are you doing, kuch nahi yaar, masti chal rahi hai. Those people are actually the most productive, really working their dash off. They're actually working very hard.
Absolutely.
You know, I have a very good friend of mine, he's an IIT and you know, this high achiever kind of thing. And उससे मैं पूछती हूँ कि what's happening, ऐश चल रही है, ऐश. And he or she, that person will always pick your call, always. If not pick your call, will respond instantly. Sorry, I'm in a meeting, I'll call you in half an hour's time. तो आपका perception है, अरे ये तो बड़ा free है. No, those people learn to organize their time, learn to effectively deal with it. A lot of us are actually unorganized. We are living like we spoke last time, either in the past or in the future. So we all, हाँ एक और चीज है, वक्त सबके पास उतना ही है, कुछ 24 घंटे ही है. That's another very funny thing. You know, lot of women who are having women friends with children, भाई तुम्हारे पास ज्यादा time है because you have two helpers. We start to compare the other person. We don't know what's happening in the next house. We don't know if the maid is there to cook for her, doesn't mean her stresses of life is over. Maybe she's dealing with a very difficult mother-in-law relationship. We don't know. Maybe she's having domestic violence issues. We don't know anything. तो हमें दूसरे का नहीं पता कि तुम्हारे पास तो बहुत टाइम है, हम बड़े बिजी हैं. It's a very non-productive thought, and by the way, a very frustrating thought. So let's not compare with anybody at all, because everybody's goals are different. Everybody's reality is different from what we perceive. We
Absolutely.
just have to be very, very fair to our long-term goal, short-term goal, and we begin with immediate to reach to these goals. So I think that perhaps is the biggest criteria.
I mean, absolutely, man. And having that one discussion that how come like she's having some sort of she's having through two servants who are ready to help her out. Here I am, like working day and night, bursting myself, like working constantly. Like that particular conflict, I would not say conflict, or maybe even that discussion wastes such a huge amount of time. Like maybe you would have done something like productive instead of talking about it.
Yeah.
If you want to be like them, then why to discuss about them? Just implement what.
Yes.
Maybe it's not like you'll be a copycat, but why not, if he's being productive, then why not learn it? There's nothing bad in it.
Absolutely.
We often read books which are written by a lot of authors, maybe like some of like one of my very famous influencer, maybe one of my author is Jay Shetty. I usually read his books, I follow him a lot. so
Very
that
good.
doesn't so that doesn't mean that I'm following him.
Yeah.
I can't be Jay Shetty, neither Jay Shetty can be Stuti, but at least
Yeah.
I can be myself. I can make myself a better person. I can do something good to myself or maybe to the society. What's bad in it? Why should I waste my time in
Absolutely.
thinking? So
Absolutely.
that's more important.
Very important. And I think somewhere here to what you're saying, there's something I suddenly remembered, and maybe that is how we can sum it all up. There's one most important thing. A lot of people in their 30, maybe not 30s, maybe 40s, 50s will say, time has run out, it's too late now. It could be your aspiration. It could be a homemaker who's having the empty nest syndrome, where the kids have gone to
Yeah.
higher education. Ab it's too late for anything. God, too late for anything. That's again a paradox. Ask that rickshaw puller who's 60 plus, or that guy who's doing labor. उनके लिए उम्र का कोई मीनिंग, उसको तो सुबह उठ के दिहाड़ी देनी है जिससे कि 2 रोटी मिले. उसको तो कभी भी नहीं लगता है कि it's too late. When does that happen? Is again, like I said, it's subjective. See, time is such a subjective phenomena. So when somebody says it's actually too late, the translation of that is you've forgotten your goals. You've forgotten what you wanted to do once upon a time. Bring it back in terms of memory. Replace it with something which you feel you wanted to be a professional, you couldn't. Okay, something closest to being a professional. What else could you do? And by the way, there's one thing I'd like to give a tip for a lot of homemakers who are in their 30s, who may not have been able to pursue their careers, their jobs, and so on and so forth. Now, COVID, the reason why we're also taking this up is COVID has given us this humongous opportunity of technology, of internet, of educating ourselves through internet. Artificial intelligence is something which is here to stay forever. So I would like youngsters in their, in their 30s, people who are little drifters, not sure what else. For example, mothers who are having little children, they've given it a big, or they've not taken off in terms of their jobs, profession, because of family restraints. It's never too late. It's never too late to pick up a third language. You can be an interpreter, for example. Everything is, a lot of courses are online. So you don't have to say it's too late. My question and my a sense of urgency for all you people out there, including myself, is it's a reminder for myself too. It's never too late. So become more tech savvy. Please do not, shy from technology, getting on social media, understanding your social media, using it to your full potential. You have a lot of stuff which you may be good at, but you've forgotten about it. Get on social media, get your support groups, join groups which are similar in terms of hobby, your interest, whatever you may like. There are a lot of people who are very good with writing. Get into blogging, get into a group which has creative writing. Content writing is the in thing. So see, look at the sky is the limit. In terms of what we were talking about, that on one hand you say it's too late, on the other hand we say it's never too late, like we always say. So yeah, with that, I think it's a food for thought. It's never too late.
And
so yeah,
and that's the only reason I really respect my mother, and I feel like that. Like whenever I feel demotivated at times, like ab nahi ho raha, I'm tired. So I imagine my mother, who started herself as an entrepreneur at the age, she's in her 50s right now, and she
right.
started her work at the age of 45.
Amazing.
She started
Very
she began with a salon.
Yeah.
She's a beauty enthusiast. She's a fashion designer. So
Wow.
suddenly she entered into the field of boutique. She was like, as a fashion designer, I want to do something different. Today she's doing tremendously well. Even at times of COVID, when people were suffering a lot, people were going through a lot of ups and downs. Just because of her communication skills and just because of her relationship with her clients and everyone, with her friends and everybody, how tremendously she was able to manage and cope herself with her business and everything. My father never interrupts in her business, and neither do I. We all are like happy. So that's fantastic, like what you are doing. She's very religious. She'll do her puja part, she'll do her business, she'll cook. Right. I mean, what a fantastic organizer she is.
Super.
And I cannot, I can't match her level. I really cannot, because I am only restricted to my notebook, to my pen, to my laptop. But she is the central figure of the family who looks after all the spheres of the house. Right. Right from the main gate to the kitchen to the bedroom and each and every place.
Right. Excellent. So the ability to be multifaceted is Absolutely. What time will give you whatever you want from it. So time will give you whatever you want from it. Don't restrict Absolutely. Yourself. Don't limit yourself. Don't typecast yourself. मैं तो ऐसा ही हूँ और मैं यही कर सकता हूँ. मैं तो ऐसी हूँ, मुझसे ये नहीं होगा. No typecasting. Sky is the limit. Like we say, time, you can't see time. No, it's not there. You just like you can't see oxygen. So I think I'd like to give it a parallel. Time is like the oxygen. right? Right, Stuti?
Absolutely. Right, Surab. And there's this one thing when you said that sky is the limit. I have that one diary in which it is written, sky is the limit for those who believe in limits.
Ah, good one. Perfect. Yeah. Like my quote is, like you say, living on the edge. Have you seen? So visualize living on the edge.
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
say living off the edge. Yeah. Something similar to what you're talking about.
Absolutely. I'm very good at visualizing. Now I'm going to visualize it, living on the edge, living off the edge.
Off the edge. Yes, off the edge. So one is you are that, you've seen people who are doing the mountaineering. There is
Yes,
something like there's a particular ledge. And the other is you're hanging where you don't have anything under your feet. That's living off the edge. One is you have
absolutely.
something to say. Yeah, so great. So I
Thank you,
think,
ma'am.
yeah, we've summed it up beautifully, and we've had a good interactive session. Anything else you have in mind, since you're going to be summing it up for us, Stuti?
No, ma'am, you have like it was just it was a very small contribution from my side. Entirely, it was on you. This is my second session with you, and I was very excited since morning. Again, we are going to come up with something new today. Again, I'm going to make a list of a couple of more things. I can add it to my to-do list. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. So
Excellent.
it's very rejuvenating. It's very refreshing to always be with you, and I hope to have some more interactive sessions with you. And honestly, I'm waiting for a physical session post
Yes,
COVID, definitely.
surely.
The moment I come back to Delhi, no matter what it is going to be live or what, personally, I'm definitely coming to you the moment
Great.
I reach Delhi.
So looking forward, Stuti, for that. And for all the viewers out there, the Fair Gaze team, everybody, I'd like to thank you all once again that we were able to put it all together and make it as much as broad spectrum doable. It's all doable. And once we try and put it all to practice, I think time will have, like I said, a new meaning. It becomes limitless. So
Definitely.
shall we be signing off?
Definitely, ma'am. Definitely. Thank you so much for your
Okay.
time, ma'am. Again, your
Thank you.
time.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you, ma'am.
Thank you so much for your time, and wish you the very best of luck. Take care.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.